Welcome to the Abbey School. This presentation outlines some of the ways in which the Abbey School is unique and distinctive and sets out how we are different to all of the other schools available in the local area. We hope that by the end of this presentation you'll have an understanding of how our community of 1,200 students and 200 staff is a place where perhaps you might want to send your child to join and perhaps progress from year 7 right the way through to year 13. So our vision is based on high quality education and training for everybody, irrespective of their ability or their background. We have very traditional standards of uniform, good manners, discipline and respect, and we make no apologies for that. We have a modern and relevant curriculum, and that's there to enable that everybody can succeed in the modern workplace. We also have links to a wide variety of local businesses and community organisations through our business and enterprise specialism. And the other aspect that's worth highlighting at this point is that there has been a focus on internationalism in the school, and that means that we have always run trips overseas to visit other schools, but also to try to broaden our students' horizons. Be the best you can be is our school motto. It encapsulates all that our school stands for. We want our students to do the very, very best they possibly can. That means 100% effort, all of the time. It means trying their hardest. It means being their best version of themselves. We hold ourselves to those standards at all times. The Abbey School became a converter academy back in 2011. However, it's existed as a school since 1983. All the time that the school's been an academy, we've had successively good Ofsted inspections. We had a good Ofsted inspection back in 2013, and this was confirmed once again in a short inspection in 2017. And if you read back through those inspections, you'll see that there is an emphasis on the fact that the school has good pastoral care, and there is reference to the fact that safeguarding is outstanding. I became head teacher back in 2018, although previously I'd been deputy head teacher back from 2014. So I've got a long history with the school, and if you want to know about my previous history prior to joining the school, I was at Simon Langton Grammar School for Boys in Canterbury as a senior leader and for a short time at Canterbury Academy. In the last 2 years, it is worth highlighting that the school has significantly raised its expectations, leading to a large jump in performance. So shortly after becoming head teacher of the Abbey School, we began to benchmark our school performance against the very best schools and multi-academy trusts in the country. We looked at what they were doing and tried to emulate their success by copying their systems and their strategies, and this has had some impact. In summer 2020, the GCSE pass rates were up on average at 20% per subject. A 20% increase per subject is phenomenal. That meant that on average students were achieving half a grade better per subject than in previous years. And the A-level A-star to C rate was 82%, again up by a phenomenal 43%. Now, that performance has been maintained over the last 12 months, although what I would say to any prospective parents looking around schools is that the last 12 months results in any school have been very, very heavily impacted by COVID-19, and trying to draw any comparisons between schools is almost meaningless. And therefore, my advice to parents and anyone visiting schools locally is to go and have a look around those schools, not on an open evening, but during the school day. Have a look around, reach your own opinions about what that school is like. I'm very, very confident that if you come round the Abbey School at any point during the school day, or in fact after, you will be very, very pleased and impressed by what you see. Now, returning to our vision, I often say that our school, the Abbey School, is a bit like Marmite because we have a very, very strong vision, and it's not going to be for everybody. Some people will absolutely love what we stand for as a school, and other people will really strongly disagree with what we do. That's fine. The whole way that the school ecosystem works in England is that we have lots of different schools, each applying education in a slightly different way, and each offering something slightly different to parents who are all themselves wanting something unique for their children. As I've said, at the Abbey School we have lots of systems, structures, rituals and routines throughout our school day, and now they're embedded for a reason, and they're there to try to habitualise all of those strategies that our students need to become successful in later life. Now, the other thing, of course, that we stand for is being traditional as a school. We have traditional values, and when I talk about traditional values, I'm talking about respect, courtesy and politeness. We are quite progressive, I should say, in many other areas, as you would expect. But if you want your child to have a strong grounding in all of those things that I've just highlighted, then the Abbey School is for you. Of course, if you feel that uniform is not something that you particularly value as being important as part of an educational journey, and if perhaps you don't place as much value on those systems, structures, rituals and routines that we do here at the Abbey, then I quite understand that you might decide another school is better choice for your child. Please make an informed choice when you send your child to any school. We often say that there are 12 distinctive features of education here at the Abbey School, and I'm not going to go through every single one of these that are shown here right now, but I'm going to perhaps focus on several just so that you have an idea of, again, what makes us stand out amongst all of the other schools. One of the things that you'll see there is the idea of the learning journey. The learning journey is the notion that by the time that our students finish their education here at the Abbey, there are a certain set of attributes, skills, as well as knowledge that they need to have acquired. We believe it's important that the school is not an exam factory. We want our students to be confident, articulate, well-mannered, courteous young people. And therefore, what we do is we backward plan. Essentially, that means if we know what skills and attributes and knowledge we want our students to have by the time they leave the school, we work backwards through each successive year group so that we know what we need to do in year 7, what we need to do in year 8, and so on, so that our students have got all of those skills and attributes by the time they leave the school. This backward planning and this learning journey is something that really sets our school apart. We also have very strong pastoral support here at the Abbey School, something that people don't often realise. We have what we call a pastoral hub at one end of the school, and our pastoral hub is a base for heads of year, our school counsellor and many other support staff who work specifically around the pastoral function. That's really key for the success that we've achieved here at the Abbey School. In fact, unlike most schools where they may just have maybe a head of year or a head of house attached to each year group or group of students, we have 2 members of teaching staff attached to each group. We not only have a head of year, but we also have what we call an academic mentor. The head of year is mainly responsible for pastoral progress, and the academic mentor is there to ensure that all of our students achieve their academic potential. In terms of teaching and learning in the Abbey School, again, some very distinctive features which are shown here on this page. First of all, there is a focus on independent learning. In every academic lesson here at the Abbey School, we insist that there is a period of silent working. That can be maybe 20 or even 30 minutes sometimes. Why is that? Well, it's because we want students to be working harder than the teachers. We want students to be practicing the skills that they have been taught earlier in the lessons. That is absolutely essential. All too often, what can happen if you do not have that in a school is that a teacher is spending a lot of time delivering a lesson to students and very little is being produced by students at the end. Or there is very little check that students have understood what has been taught. By having this focus on independent learning, what it means is that we are developing the skills that students are going to need if they want to progress to a good university or college by the time they finish their education. Our approach to teaching is also very different to many other schools. When you walk around schools, typically what you will see is students doing group work or doing card sorts or lots of active activities. In the Abbey School, you will often see that a lot less in academic lessons. Our academic lessons are based around what we describe as direct instruction. That is quite traditional teaching. It means a teacher teaching from the front of the room, engaging students through their passion and love of the subject, and developing a sense of wonder and passion amongst the students. Our learning is fast paced. We don't waste any time here at the Abbey School in our teaching and learning because we don't believe that our students have got time to waste. And we maintain our high expectations for every student, irrespective of background. In our lessons, because we don't have a lot of focus on group work, what we do is we move forward together as a class. That means everybody moves forward as one. Of course, we do have some SEN students in our school. In fact, we have a specialist resource provision of up to 50 students with EHCP statements, mostly for autism. And in those cases where students do have significant SEN, it's right and appropriate that we make reasonable adjustments. But nonetheless, the overall ethos in the school is that we move together as a class. We work together as a school community. We are important as a collective because what we are trying to do in our school is build esprit de corps. We're trying to build community spirit, and we're trying to build an emphasis on the fact that we're all responsible for making sure that everybody in the school does the best they possibly can. At the Abbey School, we have a learning journey that starts in Year 7 and ends in Year 13. In Year 7, the focus is on enjoyment and engagement. Of course, when our students join the Abbey School, they will have opportunity to try all sorts of new things, new subjects and new experiences that they've not had exposure to in primary school. We emphasise the fact that we want our students to be trying all of these new things and finding out what they enjoy and what they don't enjoy. So that's the reason for the core focus in Year 7 being about enjoyment and engagement. When we move into Year 8, it becomes more about teamwork, working with others. So we want our students to be developing a greater social awareness, improving group work and team working skills. Year 9 is when students start their GCSE journey. Of course, in order to be successful in exams, you do need persistence and resilience. It's a long journey. Year 9, 10 and 11 are spent working towards GCSE and equivalent qualification. So we need our students to learn to overcome obstacles, to gain mental toughness, and also the emotional resilience, which is important as our students enter their formative teenage years. In Year 10, our focus across the school is altruism and community. So how we do that is we stress the importance of service within the school and outside of the school, and that includes the wider community of Faversham. Year 11, a lot of our focus, particularly around pastoral work, is on leadership. We expect our students by the time they leave Year 11 to have the confidence to be able to engage adults appropriately, We expect them to be able to role model the values and behaviours we want to the younger students in the school. We expect them to be able to support the collective vision that we have here at the Abbey School. We expect them to be ready to be interviewed by any prospective employer or college. Our sixth form is structured around two distinct sets of skills. The first one in Year 12 is about thinking creatively and independently. Of course, working in a sixth form means that you need to be an independent thinker. You also need to be organised and be able to structure your own learning. In Year 13, our work is much more focused around remaining open to lifelong learning. We want our students to understand that the end of their days at the Abbey School is not the end of their journey through learning. It may well be that they are going to go off to university or college, and even if they're not going to do that, perhaps they might be going off to do an apprenticeship or even going into the workplace. They are still going to need to be aware that there are going to be other courses that they're going to need to do in life, and also other experiences that they're going to need to learn, new skills they're going to need to develop to adapt to the ongoing changes that are happening in the workplace. Our lower school is broadly structured around the national curriculum. As you can see, students do a mixed basket of subjects, including English, mathematics, science, history, geography, some modern foreign languages. They do arts, they do performing arts, they do a range of technology disciplines, as well as religious education and PE. So this diagram shows the setting structure that we use here at the Abbey School as students enter the school in Year 7. We have two equally weighted sides of the timetable. Here, one is shown in red and one is shown in blue. What you can see is that there are 4 sets in each side of the timetable. And those sets start with a grammar set. The grammar set has students who have the highest prior attainment, but also students who have very, very high cognitive ability test scores. And then we also below that have a top set, a set 2 and a set 3. As said previously, it makes no difference which side of the timetable a student is on. We also have a golden curriculum, and the golden curriculum is a separate small group of students which is receiving intensive educational support, typically because they may have some deficits in learning when they enter the Abbey School. And that golden curriculum may have slightly fewer teachers than the main curriculum to try to ensure that the students are receiving the very, very best and most intensive support that they can, so that we can close those gaps with the other students. So when Ofsted have previously come to visit the school, they have described safeguarding in our provision as being outstanding. And that is really, really important to highlight, because parents need to have the assurance that we are going to do the very, very best for their children. And again, I've previously talked about some of the pastoral staff that we have here at the Abbey School, but up here in front of you on the screen are a list of many of the different sorts of staff that we have here at the Abbey who are supporting pastoral care. And that also includes students, because we have peer mentors, we have student councils, we have house councils, because we want our students to also be supporting one another, showing student leadership, showing confidence and showing empathy towards one another. So our house system here at the Abbey School is based on 4 houses. We have Discovery House, Endeavour House, Pioneer House and Voyager House. Each of those words relates to entrepreneurialism, because we're a business and enterprise college. And our students all have a tie with a coloured stripe on it when they enter the school, and that coloured stripe indicates which house they are in. So our learning journey is also shown here. We often talk to our students about climbing the mountain. We say that there's no elevator to success. They need to work with one another. They need to ensure that they're doing their very, very best at all times. And they also need to understand that sometimes it's quite difficult to put one foot in front of the other and move forward. It's not always easy. We don't always feel like coming to school. We don't always feel like trying hard. But actually, we tell our students that it's important that they are resilient and that they continue to do all of those things even when they don't want to. We focus on the development of the whole child here at the Abbey. So I've made the point before that we're not an exam factory. That is not what we're about. Of course, academic outcomes are a major emphasis in our school, but students absolutely have to master the basics to have access to the full range of career opportunities that are available to them. Having good exam results is not nearly enough to be successful in later life. And I'm sure parents have all met adults who have good exam results but have very little in terms of personal development skills, and we don't want our students to be in that category. So we have an extensive breadth of classroom-based learning opportunities. We have creative opportunities, sporting opportunities, and practical lessons. We believe that every child has got talents, and so our job as a school is to unlock those talents. Learning should be fun, it should be enjoyable, but also challenging. And actually, learning should also sometimes be uncomfortable. Sometimes our students should be pushed out of their comfort zone. In fact, quite regularly they should be. Because we want them to be trying new things, pushing their skill set to a higher level. And that is uncomfortable, and we want our learning to be fast-paced. But we also want our students to feel safe in the school, safe in the knowledge that they can try new things and push themselves further, knowing that there is a safety net there to catch them should they fail or should they need that little bit of extra support. And our model in the school for personal development is built around these three orbs. We have personal development based around core learning. We have personal development that's focused on the school community and the Faversham community. But we also have what we describe as wider personal development, which is about personal development such as literacy, oracy, numeracy, ICT and leadership skills. All of this is very, very carefully mapped out from year 7 right the way through to year 13 to ensure that there is careful and gradual progression and that our students are developing a skill set that is going to be not just of value to themselves but of value to society. So with respect to development of the whole child, we have a huge variety of trips going on. Many of them are international. Before COVID, we had trips to Italy, Spain, Finland, Tahiti, Cyprus and Poland, all within a period of a couple of years. There were lots of lunchtime and after-school clubs. We actively encourage children to participate in sports and athletics teams wherever they can. There's lots of inspirational speakers coming into the school. We have rewards visits. We have experiences across the year. We often say that enrichment is regarded as a basic entitlement for all, because enrichment is a core part of the curriculum. So at the Abbey School, we are very, very different. I would say that our students are the hardest working in East Kent. We do have a highly structured school day. At the very start of the school day, we have a morning lineup where the students will go to the playground and they will get in their form group and the form tutor will greet each of them. They'll say, "Good morning, sir," "Good morning, miss," and the students will say, "Good morning, sir," "Good morning, miss," back. They will make sure that they've got their equipment checked. They'll make sure that their uniform's all correct. They will make sure that they've turned up with the correct attitude to learn and that nothing's happened overnight that might affect their ability to take part in normal lessons. And it's just a lovely way to start the school day with the whole school community outside, all welcoming one another and encouraging each other to do their very, very best. We have a tutor time of 35 minutes And that 35 minutes is important because it allows us to do all of the personal development activities that we believe are important. This alludes to what I was saying earlier. Schooling is not just about exams, it's about developing skills and attributes that are important for later life. We also have a long lunch hour. We have a full 60 minutes for lunch for every student. That is almost unheard of in any non-selective school across the county of Kent. Why do we have that? Well, we believe it's really important that our students get the opportunity to sit down as a year group and dine together. Most of our students will come in and the majority, I would say now, particularly in year 7, will have a school meal. Some will bring in a packed lunch. But our students will come into the canteen, they will have an opportunity to talk to one another, talk to staff in a structured lunchtime. They also, within that hour, have the opportunity to go out and play on the school playground, and also, again, lots of opportunity to interact with other people in their year group and interact with staff. We strongly encourage our teaching staff to be out and about at lunchtime, not just monitoring what's going on, but also taking an active interest in our young people. This means that our staff get to know the students in their care really well. This slide shows our school uniform. Last year we introduced a brand new uniform for year 7, and this is shown here in the diagram. You can see that students have a dark blue blazer with a light blue trim, and the ladies have a kilt-like skirt with a check pattern on it. This is a change from what you will see older students wearing. Older students in the school are still wearing the historic uniform, which is a black blazer, black trousers or black skirt. We are quite strict on our uniform expectations here at the Abbey School. We place a lot of emphasis on students arriving at school dressed appropriately. That means in the correct footwear, it means not arriving with any jewellery or makeup, and it means arriving with all of the correct items to take part in the school day. This also extends to the school PE kit, which is essential for students to play a full and active part in the sporting life of the school. Equity and fairness are the basis of our school uniform policy. We have an Abbey School rucksack, for example, that students are expected to wear as part of their uniform. This is rugged and hard wearing, and it's suitable for carrying school equipment, homework, PE kit and books home from school. We place an emphasis on being smart at all times, and this even extends to members of our football academy in the sixth form who have their own distinct outfit and uniform that they are expected to wear when they are participating in school life. I often get asked about school behaviour systems here at the Abbey School. Often word on the street is we're quite strict, and we are, because the word strict means having rules and systems that are really clear. So what are those rules and systems? Well, the systems that we have in the school are there to benefit everybody in our school community. We want everybody to have a safe environment. We want everybody to have learning which is free from disruption. And we want to encourage courtesy, politeness, respect, the same standards you would expect in any top school. We tell our teachers that they need to be warm, which means kind, but also very strict. We want our students to understand that the rules are there for a reason, and if rules are broken, then quite often there will be a sanction. But we aim for absolutely happy, joyful, participative classrooms where students are loving their learning. We believe that every child joining our school can have excellent outcomes, irrespective of where they've been previously in life, their prior attainment, or their own hopes and dreams. We have a traditional ethos, and we deliberately set out to offer a grammar school quality education for everybody without any selection. We believe in adult authority in our academy, so that means there are non-negotiable rules with everybody in our community. For example, we're a mobile phone-free school. These are confiscated, sometimes for up to a number of days, if they are taken out. We have equipment checklists, so there are daily checks to ensure that our students are ready to learn and to make sure no time's wasted at the start of lessons giving out pens and pencils by teachers. You can imagine that's extremely frustrating for staff. We have an emphasis on the fact that makeup, nail extensions or anything beyond the school's definition of an appropriate hairstyle are not permitted. We don't allow colouring, perms or anything we deem to be extreme. We don't support eating outside designated areas. That's because we place pride in our school site and its cleanliness. We don't want our site staff spending the majority of their time picking up litter rather than improving the quality of the teaching and learning environment. We have common classroom entry and exit procedures across the whole school, which basically ensures that our students know what they do when they arrive at the classroom, and it also ensures that teachers know what their expectations are. The term silent corridors is often used in schools, and what do we mean by that? Well, it doesn't mean that students are walking around not saying a single word, but what it does mean is it means that students are moving quickly and efficiently to their next lesson without chatting, without making lots of noise, and when they arrive at the classroom door for their next lesson, they'll be saying good morning sir, good morning miss to the teacher, and the teacher will be saying good morning sir, good morning miss back to them. Similarly, if they pass an adult in the corridor, they'll be doing the same. So it's about moving quickly and efficiently to the next class. We insist that uniforms worn with pride, both within the school and outside of the school, and that includes on the journey to school in the morning and going home. So sometimes we will talk to students if they have started to take their uniform off or worn it incorrectly on the way home, and that's because we believe really importantly that the uniform is sending a message out to the school community and the wider Faversham community about who we are and what we stand for as a school. So when we wear the uniform, we are reflecting the values of the whole school. In our lessons, we have allocated seats, so students will be told where they're sitting in the classroom. We have teacher-led instructions. We have a focus on what we call STAR behaviours. STAR behaviours means S for sit up straight, T for track the teacher or the text. Tracking the teacher or the text means looking at the teacher or the text. A stands for always answering with hands up. So when the teacher asks for a question, we don't call out. We put our hand up nice and straight, our Abbey arm up nice and straight, and the teacher will pick us. And the R stands for respecting through silence. So when other people are talking, when other students are giving an answer in class, we don't butt in. We emphasise respect and courtesy throughout our school through what we call steps. And I'll just go through what that means quickly. S stands for saying sir or miss every time we're talking to the teacher. T stands for thank you. We say thank you in the Abbey School because it's polite. E stands for excuse me. Whenever we want to include ourselves in a conversation, we always preempt that with excuse me. P stands for please. We always say please. And S stands for smile. And sometimes I get teachers or members of the school community saying to me that students don't necessarily want to always smile, and we understand that. But the S in smile stands for body language as well. We want our students to be showing the appropriate body language when they're talking to us. Being respectful, being courteous, and of course we do understand that there are all sorts of things going on in children's lives, but it's also important that students understand the importance of showing correct body language and respect and courtesy to teachers, but also to one another. We encourage our students to speak clearly, and we do that through an acronym that we call SHAPE. So the S stands for using full sentences whenever they're answering one another. The H stands for hands away from the mouth. So we don't encourage our students to mumble. We want our students to have their hands away from the mouth when they're talking. We want them to be able to articulate. We want them to be able to speak clearly and loudly so that the rest of the class can hear when they're giving an answer. And that means that they've got to use the P, which means project your voice. Students should be able to project their voice, confident. And the last one is E, which is about eye contact. And of course, if I'm saying good morning to a student, I would typically expect them to look at me in the face and say, good morning, sir, good morning, miss. And the reason for that is that's just what we do. We're polite and confident. Again, we will have a small number of students in the school, a very small number, who may have autism and may need to have a reasonable adjustment around that expectation. But all of our students are expected to try their very, very hardest. We have knowledge organisers and common resources in many lessons. We have quiet working time as well, as I've already talked about. And this idea that the class moves forward together. Important to highlight as well the fact that we've got a heavy investment in education here at the Abbey School. On the left hand side you can see a picture of our new Arts and Technology block, which actually opened up in September, and I hope you have the opportunity to have a look around that. That is a building containing 13 classrooms, many of which are specialist and have all sorts of quite high-tech equipment inside. The building on the right-hand side is one that is going to start to be built in the next 12 to 18 months, and it is a new block to support a one-form expansion initially, and then eventually a two-form expansion of the Abbey School. We expect to have that to eventually include a theatre for the school, and we're raising money for that as we speak. Our community partners at the Abbey School are wide and various. They include the big supermarkets, but they also include a number of manufacturing companies, Brogdale of course, which is on our doorstep, and local banks. All of these come in to help and support the school, and they're really part of our core identity as an enterprise school. And I love this picture. The Abbey School is a school where our students are joyous. We want our students to be happy. We want our students to enjoy being at school. And have a look round, not just on an open evening as I've said, but come and have a walk around the school. Come and experience all of the different aspects of school life that we have here at the Abbey, because we think that if you do, you will see just how special the Abbey School is and what we can offer your son or daughter.